Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Classic Quest podcast. Yo, this is the one where we do the classic albums. The other one where we do rap is new albums, so we do have a bit of a difference there. And in the spirit of, my name's HSR.
My name's Chris Chrome.
Your lady friend Bonnie had a dinner with her family that I'm not there. I'm gonna get in trouble, but
sorry,
this was
Lindell.
Far more important. But whatever. Anyway, we needed to do this now. Why? Because the saga continued, so why don't you tell us what album this is?
Well, for this week's album, we decided to go with Wu-Tang Clan's Enter the Wu-Tang Clan 36 Chambers.
Boom. And honestly, it just felt fitting. We've dabbled a little bit in some of the solo projects, and
Well, to be fair, I mean, it's kind of cool how they came back with a new album within the last 2 days, and then we went back to like the hitting
this
album.
is Wu Weekend.
I know that's why, but it's just
No, but like in general, on every single solo Wu affiliate / member we touched, we did Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links, we did GZA's Liquid Swords, we did Killer Priest Heavy Mental, and then all three of those videos we got the same comment. Oh, we also did Raekwon the Wild, and the same comment, y'all need to do 36 Chambers if you want to understand the Wu. And honestly, this is one of the few reviews we've done where I've actually kind of listened to the album a bit over the last couple of months because I actually took those comments seriously, but it was really cool to still sit down and really study this album for a quick minute here. And actually, just after having talked about Wu-Tang Clan for a couple hours last night, it's cool to be able to do it again. Like, I don't think we've really done such a back-to-back like this.
No.
Anyway, so Chris, I know we did this yesterday, but tell us when you encountered the Wu-Tang Clan.
Well, technically it was when we started doing all the reviews, as well as I knew when Cream came out. That was, well, not when it came out, but I knew that song was popular when I was growing up. I don't know, I guess high school, I was like, 15, 16 to tell you the truth.
So I first encountered Wu-Tang Clan in college. I bought this album. I listened to it, so what the fuck is this, and took it off because I didn't really understand it. At the time, I couldn't necessarily appreciate the beat styles and the influences and things like that. I was pretty ignorant, just discovering new music. And then over time, I glossed over them a bit here and there. I really like the Gravel Pit song. In general, Method Man has caught my attention. I ended up buying the Blackout and the Blackout 2, so that was always fun. I really do enjoy their style, but I know it's not necessarily Wu-Tang, but still, it's Method Man. I then basically ignored them for a very long time. I followed the Martin Shkreli Wu-Tang story for a minute, but that was just drama. Ultimately, it wasn't until we started doing these reviews that I really encountered the Wu and took the time to try to figure out what they do, what the rhyming's like, and we started to kind of wrap our heads, I think, around it more so as we went on. Like, I think our Liquid Swords review was pretty solid after, getting the shit kicked out of us in the first two.
Well, they are ninjas and they are sword masters.
Honestly, I'm really considering that we have to redo Only Built for Cuban Links because I think I'd really like the album a lot more now. Anyway, so we got to here, and we are going to do this album, this Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, because it seems like a relevant thing to do after the new one, like I said before. I don't have a lot more to go on about it. Who is the Wu-Tang Clan? There are 9 members at this point, even though one of them is deceased, Mr. ODB. He was still alive at this point. You got the RZA, the GZA. You got the Raekwon the Chef, Ghostface Killah. You got Master Killa, Method Man, and Inspector Deck. Each of them kind of had their own style, their own flair, and their own personality. Honestly, we did a thorough breakdown of who they are, or more thorough than this, in the Wu-Tang video we popped yesterday, so it should appear in the corner there if you want to check that out after this video, just to kind of go from the beginning of the Wu to the modern Wu. That might be a fun experience for you. See what I did there? Anyway, this is probably cornier than they were hoping for. At the end of the day, what did you think of the album cover and the title, Enter the Wu-Tang, which I don't think the clan is part of it, even though it says it on Spotify. I think it's just Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers.
I thought I didn't really get the 36 Chambers part, but I mean, Enter the Wu-Tang Clan or even Enter the Wu-Tang, it's like their debut album. I understood that right away. I was like, okay, this is where they're gonna showcase what they're doing, how they do it, who they are, and really come at it. The picture, the album cover is something I've seen before. It's very unique, and I like how they're all masked.
Actually, there's a reason for that. Apparently, on the day of shooting the album cover, they were not all there.
Mm-hmm.
So, rather than worrying about having everybody there or missing somebody on the cover, they filled up the gaps with some extra dudes who was around, like the sound engineer or whatever, covered everybody's faces in white, and filled out the cover like that. So, not everybody on that cover is actually in the Wu-Tang Clan. But I love it. It really gives this eerie sense that these guys are lyrical ninjas about to fuck you up. Like, you don't know who they are, what they're about. They're masked. And that's interesting, right? In an era where it's like everybody's putting their face on everything, etc. You see this cover
Well, actually,
where it's the brand.
It wasn't even a part of the album cover. I was watching a documentary, and there's a beef that happened. I forget the year, but there was beefing that was happening between like the West Coast. I think it was like the West Coast and the East Coast beef. And you saw a clip of Wu-Tang Clan there, and they were covered in like ninja gear, like even in public when they would like get together.
Yeah, but I think it was also all part of it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it's part of their style, their whole
what I mean
like.
is when you consider it from like the marketing side, it's like the individuals aren't as important as the collective, and all you really see is that prominent W, which would ultimately go on to be quite the W. I think I still see it on people all over Montreal every freaking day I go into public transit.
Yep.
I think it's one of the more iconic album covers. I really dig it. And I love the title. The idea of like Enter the Wu-Tang Clan, like 36 Chambers. What it means to me is depth. Like it might, I don't know if there's some specific significance. It seems like everything is taken from some particular old kung fu movie or another. I've seen
for sure.
None of them.
Viewers are gonna let us know in the comments, right?
Hopefully they will. But yeah, so I like the title. It makes me want to like get to know the Wu-Tang actually. Yeah. And I think if you're ready for it, we can
bring the ruckus.
The fucking ruckus.
I wreck this dangerous. I blow spots like Waco, Texas. I watch my back like.
Starts off with the Shaolin bit, which it really just kind of introduces the idea of there's the Wu-Tang and Shaolin style, etc. And it's, I guess, trying to imply that what they're about to do is the lyrical equivalent of this mystical form of etc. Just even from the beginning, now you know what Wu-Tang is.
Right.
It's a good way to start the album, and it's not like stupidly long. It's like a little short thing that you could really listen to because it's a good tone setter.
And it's not misplaced. It's very, like you said it's a very good tone setter, and I like how they keep that pattern. They keep that pattern throughout a lot of the things they do.
Like I can tell you some of the skits from the Saga Continues kind of felt a little forced or contrived, but this was smooth. And then it's just RZA with "Bring the motherfucking ruckus" or whatever. He comes in so hard and it's just so rugged. But really, even before that, you hear all these like odd snaps and stuff in the beat, and it's like it's just so prominent and it just feels so grimy, and it's just, I don't know. There's almost nothing like it, right? I guess in the terms of at that time or whatever.
Well, it's very boom bap era. Very like a lot of.
But just in the sense of like the feel of it, it's really like distinct. Like if you compare against some of the other guys from this era we've covered, I don't know. I was really listening to the production, and I just felt it was just so well put together, and it just ensnares you. It kind of brings you into this hook, this griminess, where you know like shit's about to get real just off of the beat. Like the beat is hard, but not like hard like, you know, hype.
Like it's not like
hard. Like the beat would fuck you up by itself.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah. And then they go through it, and on this track we have RZA, GZA, Ghostface Killah, Raekwon, and Inspector Deck starting at us off. And honestly, right after RZA hypes us up with that "Bring the fucking ruckus" line, Ghostface just blasts. Like,
and I think that's what it is. They brought the ruckus. This entire song is making their mark. I don't know why Method Man wasn't on it.
Cause he's not really a ruckus type.
Okay, fair enough.
Like think about it. Think about the choice to start this off with Ghostface. He's possibly
Well, hold on. When now we know Ghostface is the lover romance type.
yeah, but that came after.
Right.
So like, but think about it, just the way he is. He's almost louder than
Yes.
everyone else.
Yes,
It's almost
he
like
is.
he screams. It's like
He
bring
is.
the ruckus.
He's got more of that
and
energy.
He just comes in, and he's got this kind of erratic flow where he has this quickness to him, but he still keeps it well paced and controlled.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, like he almost feels like he finishes his lines early or something. I don't know. He just comes in with excellent wordplay in the sense of he's here. Don't fuck with Ghostface. He's
Well,
not
I
afraid.
don't think it was. I didn't feel like it was. He did make it clear it was not to fuck with Ghostface, but I also feel like he was also backing up the rest of the squad.
Right.
And they all kind of do that in their verse, which I really like because they're really showing, like we said about the album cover, they're starting off showing like we are together.
But Ghostface in general has this more. It's almost like his personality is psychotic and savage.
Yes,
like
yes,
that's
I
what
see
I
that.
took from this at first. And then Raekwon comes in and he's just like the opposite. He's cold and calculated and observational, and he waits for the right opportune moment. And he's such a good contrast to Ghostface because he's so loud and Raekwon's just so smooth and calm.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of flows it proper, but he's still aggressive. He still sounds like he's gonna knock
But
you out.
again, he's also carrying that mafioso type vibe, and even
But this is a little more like I
This
still
is
picture him
pre.
on the streets still,
like
right?
this is pre, but that's what I'm saying. Like this is pre Boss Man. This is like Raekwon,
Man.
where he's still smooth and like calculated and got it, but he's got that energy and that flair
And
where
then
he's ready to go in.
He's also skinnier than he is now. Just putting it out there.
Fair.
I know I'm not the skinniest person. It's a fucking
You're
observation.
gonna get attacked, bro.
Relax yourself. Relax. I'm working on it. I bike to work. But honestly, after that we have Inspected Deck, and I can't wrap my head around what he's exactly trying to go for. He kind of sounds like an in-between of the two. Like he wants to be a psychotic killer, but at the same time he's still kind of calm and calculated about it. Like
But see, that's a cool thing. I like that. I mean, think about like, now this is like a stretch, but think about like watching a psycho movie, like a psycho killer movie, and they're playing like soothing classical music. It's kind of like, I feel like I get that little bit of a vibe where he's trying to be like aggressive, hard, and a little cracked, but he's laid back and like, I can still kick it, but like,
right.
watch like I'm rough around the edges.
Anyway, and then we get the chorus again, I believe, and it comes in with RZA, and then, hold on, I wrote notes here because it's a longer song, or maybe that's just the end of it, and yeah, I don't know if there's more verses. Maybe that was all. I apologize. It's a lot of Wu-Tang, and I really like this song a lot. I gave it a 4.5 on 5. I do think it's a bit of an acquired taste, and if you're new to the Wu-Tang, you can't judge it on your first listen because it really is hard to get into and wrap your head around. I feel like if you focus on the choice of words they make and the elaborate descriptions they can come up with, you just start to find this poetic beauty inside of the brilliance of them, and it really shines here. And this was a great introduction track, and I like the fact that it just came in strong and all of that. I don't know. What else you want to say?
Well, I gave this track a 4 on 5. I thought it was really strong, but I did have a little difficulty with the high-pitched tones at certain points. And by high-pitched tones, I mean like there's certain parts where I feel like they were like turning up the frequency or the volume of like the instrumental or even some of the voices, and I felt like they peaked at a certain point. And I mean, I get it. You're trying to show the energy and showing the aggression, and it's there, and you're powerful. But like, the peaks kind of got me off a little bit. But other than that, I mean, it was produced really well. It was. Like,
And just to the point of the production, one of the things I really liked about the chorus is underneath the chorus, you could hear that sample of "Try My Wu-Tang Style" being
Yes.
repeated over and over again, and I feel like it's just the right kind of compliment to remind you subtly, this is really what it's about. Like, this is their style. It's really about this kind of rough wordplay. Either way, I'm blown away. This is one hell of a start to the album. And then next up we have Shame on a
Cracker.
Prophet Tree pointed out whilst we were talking about the saga continues that Method Man would occasionally kind of make up words.
Yeah,
to fit
I
a
thought
rap
of this.
pattern.
I thought of that when
And
I heard
he
this.
goes, competitor or something. Oh, I mean competitor, whatever. And I was just like, the fact that he made up a word, I was like, you know what? That's not even a real thing. I don't care. I just kept
But,
going.
like,
It was amazing. It
But
fits
you know
so
what?
nice.
You know what? I don't think he really made up a word. That's what they say. Like that's how.
No,
like
I mean-
I've used the word competitor, like
No, no,
instead
no,
of
but
competitor.
No, but he didn't even. He said like competitor or something like that. He didn't even.
Well,
like,
no. He full on said competitor, but people would call you out on that because it's not a real
I don't
word.
know.
And he's
I-
just kind of and he's just
Pretty
kind
sure he
of
stumbled through it at the end, and it was kind of whatever. I thought it
trying
was
to
funny.
defend here,
I
guys.
don't know what you need to defend. It was on He said he doesn't even care. It was
Right,
funny.
right.
Anyway, this song is fantastic. It just comes in with like a more upbeat kind of swag to it.
Yep.
Like this beat just kind of
Yep.
you feel like you want to move to it more.
More dance feel. I got this. Like it's still boom bap. It's still a lot of like I feel like boom boxes are going on in the background. But you want to dance more to this instead of like that whole like gang movement type with the whole wave there.
Yeah, you just kind
But,
of feel
like,
like you got a boogie on.
Yeah, you got to
And then
move around.
The thing about ODB is ODB just delivers words in such a way where
He's up here. Like his
like-
energy levels are just.
It just sounds like it's erratic. It sounds like everything he's on was coming through as he was delivering these words, and it's truly nice. Like that chorus is explosive.
Mm-hmm.
And then the verse comes through, and it's more of like the "Don't Cross Me" kind of feel. Like he still comes off with the same general energy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that's what they do for the most part on this album, with a few exceptions. It's a lot of these guys presenting their personalities in these characters. Like I really believe that each of these is like a superhero to them. Like this is like an invention of their personality, and they're just flossing through this personalities, just showing you what they're about. And then after that, you got Method Man coming through, and he really just drops this smooth thing. And honestly, if you look at it, right, you got Raekwon, Method Man, ODB. Now, ODB might have crazy energy, but he's still smooth.
Yeah.
He still got that vibe. So on Bring the Ruckus, it's like high energy, blah, and you had the right squad, and Raekwon can fit there. But on this one, you want the smoothness where you got the smooth guys coming through. And again, Raekwon can fit here, which is cool. And then ODB finishes it off, and I think everyone sounds freaking fantastic.
No, they stand
on
up
this.
against each other. It's amazing. I like how when they go onto the smooth, they're still like hard. They're still like G's about it. And
But I really like the part where like it starts the chorus after Method Man and then cuts it off, and Raekwon just like it's just like he snatches the beat and everything just changes, and he comes in and he does his like form like Voltron line, which that skit comes later on where it's like
Right.
Jesus the head like Voltron. You just like picture it happening, and I love the imagery. I love how honestly like as much as it's really hard, they don't necessarily they're not afraid to be a little silly with it, as long as it works and they're fly. Like they honestly just are flossing a little bit with how hard they're being, and I really like this song.
But I wanted to touch upon the fact, like, how you were saying about the heroes, like they all like their personas. I feel like I get that, and throughout the album I'm gonna talk more about that. But on this one, in that particular aspect, I feel like this was their gangster persona in terms of like, watch your step, don't fuck with me, don't cross me, like. I don't fool with you fools, like I don't
See,
play
it's
these
like-
games.
It's like in the first track they made it like an invitation to everybody, and in this one it's like almost like a fool. You're gonna get fooled if you actually follow through on that. I really like it. I gave this a 4.5. I liked it as good as the last one. Apparently, it's really strong, and I feel like both these tracks have a lot of like replay value. And that's the thing about the Wu-Tang Clan so far. It's that every last one of these verses has such unique and distinct vocabulary that almost every time you listen to it, at least the first 20, 30 times, you're likely going to be able to find some depth. You're going to make a connection. You're going to think about something. You're going to actually consider how he delivered these words or this flow. And because there's so many dudes, it's like you get so many different, distinct, fresh flows at once. And in a lot of ways that fails. But these guys all are talented as fuck so far, and it's really good. I'm really happy with this album. It's even better than The Saga Continues for sure.
Nice. I gave this a 4.5 on 5. I think it was 0.5 better than the last one, only in terms of the mixing and the volume was better for, like, I guess just personally, I found it was better mixed, better produced. The way that they have that energy, but they're still relaxed and kicked back is really cool. And I feel like this is more serious instead of, and you're right. The first track was inviting, and this one is like, I'm more serious even though I invited. Like,
here it's more like the response to it. It's like, we
Right.
cool. We able to handle this. We got the tacticians. And it's interesting because it kind of like shows that there's so many of them and they're all so good. They got so many different skills brought into play that you can't even handle what the Wu-Tang Clan brings at this point. And it's different than, let's say, one of these solo guys who is coming through and spitting about how great they are. But at the end of the day, it's an individual. But they give this illusion to an army at this point. And we haven't even gotten to Clan in the Front, which is the next one where,
Niggas on the left, reaction to death. Woods on the right, wow for the night.
There were fucking bees in the sample of RZA's part at the beginning, and RZA just comes in and just hypes up fucking everything. He says everybody and their fucking brother's name. All good. That shit took a minute. And look, it was cool in the sense of it fits. It's all hype up and it really gets you in the vibe and stuff, but the fourth or fifth time, I don't know that I'm really feeling it that much. Like, I gotta really be in, like, I'm gonna put on the whole album kind of mood for it.
Yeah.
Kind of wish I could jump over it. And then the song just kind of shifts. And as much as everyone thinks there's only one solo track on the Wu-Tang album, there's clearly two solo tracks, because this is a solo track. It's just GZA.
Yep.
Which is
And
dope.
I don't know. I'm a little like weird with this. I like the track. I like the vibe to it. I like the beat to it. I like the flow. I like what he's saying. But
it really
I
makes
agree,
sense.
the intro is a little long, and I just feel like this was GZA validating Wu-Tang.
But that's kind of relevant. So if we think about what we were going on with the album, so now they've created the illusion of this mass army, so many people and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got RZA hyping up the fact that there are so many people in the clan. He's hyping it up. We're so many. We're the killer bees. They've even introduced the name of the squad. Everybody's
Right.
ready, etc. Then the general steps out, and that's what I got the feeling is like GZA comes out as like the top, the brains, the operation, and he's establishing how he's a master rhymesman. And that hook though, Clan in the Front, it's so good. And apparently it has to do with something like in the clubs, people would kind of group off into different sections of the club depending on who they were. And this was kind of referencing how the clan was in the front, like it establishing like they're the number ones here. And then he comes in and it's like, we got the rhymes, we got the skills, we can crush whatever's. And he really just lays it through with that GZA style. And I really dug the track, but at the same time, it's not necessarily like the bangerest of bangers, right? It's kind of a really good track. It kind of fits the tone.
Yep.
It's really cool to come in with it, but I feel like the second verse, somewhere in the middle, you start to go, all right, it's all right. It's not like the best song. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's no such thing as a bad song on this album. But like when you've just had these two crazy fucking experiences,
energetic songs.
And I mean, no offense to GZA, it's just I find him so different than the rest of the clan dudes that just were on the last two tracks. Like, you just had the high explosive everybody else, and then GZA comes in and it's like, all right, and I appreciate the song, but it was just a bit of a shock for me, and it feels a little more subdued and calmed down. There's like two parts of something, and it was okay. The wordplay is still ridiculous. It does feel like Jizz is validating the Wu, that he's coming in, like he's like the father figure watching over it, that they're here, there's a lot of them, they're ready to take over, and that's what I got from it. I didn't find it as substantial. I gave this one a 4.
Oh shit. I gave this one a 3.5 on 5. I thought it was good. It produced well, but the intro, after a couple of times, I agree with Holden. I would want to skip it just because it does kind of get a little annoying after a while. Like, I get it, you're shouting out the brothers, but I don't need you to shout them out every time. And I didn't think this song was as strong as the last two tracks, just in terms of like, I agree. It's a little more calmer, a little more softer. I guess they're going for like a serious tone.
It's also with like
but
the beats, right?
I feel like it was off of that serious tone. It was more of a validation of the Wu-Tang instead of like being Wu-Tang, I feel a little bit.
I feel like he was still being Wu-Tang. I don't know about that, but I feel like the beats were just a little less good on both parts of the song, and the transition was poorly executed. It's just my opinion. Y'all can think it's wonderful. That's okay. You can let us know in the comments why this song is great or not. That's cool. But do you have anything more on this guy?
No, I put a 3 on 5 on this.
You said 3.5.
3.5, right.
Anyway, Wu-Tang 7th Chamber is the next track. This is really amazing. I mean, on the same track, you got Raekwon, Inspector Deck, RZA, ODB, Ghostface Killah, U-God, and Method Man and GZA. Granted, U-God's only in the skit, but that doesn't change the fact that this is like practically the whole clan laid out on this track. And if for something called Wu-Tang 7th Chamber and shit, it has 7 verses and whatnot, it's fucking clever and fucking great, because ultimately I really think this is where the Wu-Tang gets to shine. The fact that they have such a heavy-hitting roster that flows so perfectly together in the way that they do on this track is insane. And the skit's kind of funny, because, like, what is it? Raekwon's going after some DVD copy of a movie that he left with Method Man, and Method Man's trying to justify it at some party, and somebody probably stole it, and relax, he's gonna buy more copies, it's all good. And then, like, U-God and Ghostface show up going on, and Word is Bond about, you know, how there was a killing, Word is Bond, and everything else happened. And then right before the track starts, you can hear how Method Man, they probably stole the DVD too. Oh, he's bringing up the DVD again. It was so funny. It was just like you could just picture these guys sitting there and having like this great conversation. Like what I mean is you could tell you could tell that they had this sense of chemistry and everybody was on the same squad.
Well, they're like a family. It feels like family to them. Like the way they talk, the way they interact with each other. It's like, hey, from across the street. Like not even, I know like even now people do that, but it's more, I felt more confidence.
So. And then like you just feel the track starts and it just comes in and each guy has his verse.
Yep.
I believe we, who do we start off? Raekwon comes in and does the first verse, and it's again more of like the same kind of stuff, calculated. The Raekwon smoothness, his flows coming in. He seems to have like a certain sense of materialism that's already creeping through at the very beginning of his
Well, we can say he's got the recipe for a really great verse.
And Method Man follows up with more of like his style, and I believe he plugs Tycho at this point, kind of letting you know that the album is coming, and he just sounds vicious though. He sounds a lot more vicious on this one than I think he did on the previous one.
But his voice his voice makes him sound so calm and serious, but it's more vicious. I admit, like what he's saying in terms of the bars and the lyrics and like how he's ending the lyrics and how he's ending off on the punches, it's there, but I feel like he's got that ability to still sound like deep tone seriousness, like you better listen, you know, and not just be frantic.
Inspector Deck does his thing. I find him a little less distinguishable than the other ones. It's still good. The rhymes is proper. The words, the imagery he paints is good. Then we move along on to, I believe, Ghostface Killah, and I love it. I love the way he explodes onto the track. I love the way he does his thing. Then I noticed that whereas everyone else is vicious and hard and stuff, like RZA just hones in on robbing people and taking some shit and getting some wealth. Old Dirty Bastard comes in again sounding savage after that, and then finally GZA seals it all off sounding like a boss general type again. And I know I'm super simplifying it down, but we don't necessarily go into a super bar by bar breakdown on this show, because to do that we'd have to take each song of this and could probably turn into an hour-long conversation. If you have interest in that, we can maybe make that happen. But for now, we're looking at the album, just the general impression. The beat here is really nice. It's got that, like, you just picture ninjas fighting and shit over it. And I thought it was great.
You got the ninjas. I got the cruising, like, not I don't mean in a car though, I mean like kind of like strolling down the street and just like marking the territory, grouping together. And
like
what
fucking
you remember
assassin ninjas in the olden days. I'm picturing ancient
Guy,
Chinas
when you say
and
ninjas,
stuff.
I'm picturing people running through trees and shit. Like I'm picturing
picturing
Method
guys
Man
in-
going like
I'm picturing them back when they like chilling at the squad and they're ready to go and they're the army getting ready to deploy. Anyway,
I see that. I see that.
I think it's really great. Like, whereas Clan in the Front felt a little weird, it didn't necessarily feel like it fit as much. This feels like now we're back in the 36 chambers and a really great representation of what the Clan can do up front. Like, it's the kind of shit you almost want to see live.
Mm-hmm.
For me, this was a 4.5 because the skit, as much as I liked it, it did kind of take a while. And whatever, that's not my favorite part. So 4.5, great track.
Well, I gave it a 4 on 5. I do agree with this skit. I do like how you brought up like they were talking about like killing and the word, like the word is the word, you know, you keep it like Bond. And I like how they all kind of like just acted vicious and like grouped together to keep that bond with each other on this track. It was really cool.
Anyway, can it all be so simple? Can it?
I guess it.
Yo, no doubt, the guard got crazy clap, pushing a big joint from down south. So
Yo, shit got like,
Personal.
I wouldn't say personal, but well, yeah, personal. That's fair, but
Got
a little
personal
like,
and really real
it
too.
wasn't the word I was gonna go for, but deep.
Yeah.
Cause like we went from like the Wu-Tang Clan being a bunch of soldiers per se, a bunch of aggressive guys, to here's some humanity told from like the perspective of Raekwon and Ghostface Killah, and it's just like it almost it starts off with some guys trying to remind them of back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, guys, back in the day kind of sucked. Is kind of what this song made me like to believe, right?
Well, talking about them being warriors, I mean, every warrior's got a story, so I feel like they kind of stepped up and were like, this is why I'm this, you know? Like, this is what I went through. This is the struggle. There was talks about, I think Raekwon's the first one.
Yeah, Raekwon.
Right? And he's talking about his father.
And his addiction. And this one had a video. Like you said, it was one of the ones, I believe Shame on a N-word is associate. Sorry if I said that and it pisses someone off. It's the fucking name of the song.
There's nothing we can do, dude.
We can do a lot. We're just, whatever. If it pisses someone off, my bad. Anyway, so I'm going to just re-say that. So there was a video for Shame on a, and I think that's attached to the next. We'll get to the song it's attached to in a minute. And this one did have another video. One of the things that I noticed about this album is it had a fuck ton of videos on it, and that was pretty like interesting considering some of the other albums we've done have had maybe 2 or 3. This one had like 5 or 6 freaking videos.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Raekwon just came in smooth, and it's just hearing him go with this. And he still sounded tough. He still kind of let it know he was involved in these things. Is this the one where it let to know that he got like shot and he like changed shit around in his life or whatever?
Yeah, this is the real personal one. That's what I'm saying. This is the one
Well,
about.
it's one of.
Well, it's
Raekwon,
one of,
he
right?
gets
But
personal a couple
this one,
times.
I feel like they're
And
really explaining.
Ghostface is kind of like, I just want to make music with the boys, and then all this stuff's kind of happening, but really for him a good day is to be able to chill out in the sunlight and make some music and stuff. And you just see like these guys are really, at the end of the day, they want just nice, calm, proper things, but the environment they're in is so fucked up, and the world that they know is so messed up, and all they're desiring is the simplicity, and it really gets conveyed that the beat is just so fucking beautiful, and the sample
The
behind
composure of the beat was amazing.
like, and then it's a Slash song, and it comes in with this intermission, and it's like Method Man explaining in an interview how everybody got their name, and he goes through them all, like how Method Man likes to smoke pot, and meth apparently was weed back in the day, so he's the Method Man, and Raekwon the chef cooks up delicious rhymes in the kitchen, so he's Raekwon. And I'll just run through all this shit, and honestly, the way it's delivered, and I've said this on other reviews, Method Man has this voice where he could just say practically anything, and I find it kind of soothing. I give this a 5. I think this is perfect. I think you get this crazy emotional context, right, of like some personal stories of the environments of these 2 members of the Wu, and arguably some of the, in previous tracks, more aggressively delivered guys, followed by Method Man kind of joking around with the squad, being like, we're all just people. This is how we invented these personas. This is who we are a little bit. And it really serves at this almost getting to the midpoint of the album, to add like that human appeal to these thuggish gangster types that otherwise appear. I don't care if they were thugs or not. I'm just using language to describe it. Anyway,
You're really worried, aren't you?
No, I'm just addressing potential people to describe that. You know, as much as I recognize my ignorance, I'm just trying to express points.
Fair enough.
I love this track. It was beautiful. It's an amazing thing. 5 on 5.
I gave this a 4.5 on 5, only because I think the intermission should have just been a skit on its own. They could have developed something in a way to just kind of have like an interview type, like an actual interview startup, or I don't know. I don't want to be part of the creative thing.
I'm not as critical, and it's at the end because you can.
But
just
like,
skip
I just
at the end.
the only reason that's the thing. Like when you really dive into the Wu-Tang, the main question is where did you get your name? Where did you come? Like all this stuff and. When you have, like, I feel like by the time you get to the skit, you might want to skip it, and I feel like it's part of the track.
Like, skip it the first time.
Not the first time,
and
but I feel like
you're gonna go through it a few times. You're gonna vibe to it, but you have the option to cut through it, and even then, that's modern way of looking at it. I still think it's well placed. I think it's a great attachment to this particular song.
Fair enough.
I don't know. You don't have to like it. That's fine. But next up, the Wu-Tang Clan explores the mystery of chess boxing.
Out there, peace to all the crooks, all the niggas with bad looks, bald head braids, blows his hook.
Oh, I like this track. I've been listening to this track for a minute now. It comes in kind of like describing Shaolin as this like strategic like sword fighting and chess and strategy all at the beginning in the little montage, and then it just kind of, again, flips into the track. Again, this track has a video, and it's cool because they're all kind of, like, decked out on this chessboard as like, players. And then it cuts to different scenes, and each of the members kind of unveil and do their verse. And for the first time on this album, we get U-God, who has the deep voice. Now I know what U-God sounds like. He's the one that I keep quoting. I've been like, radical cocaine straight from Bolivia. And he's that U-God. I was like, shit. And I really appreciated that. He's a little bit on the short verse, but it's cool. It comes in strong.
Nice.
And it flows so well over that beat.
The beat's nice. I like how they took the concept of the Shaolin art style, and they all have their own. Like, you know how you keep talking about the ninjas, and we keep bringing that up? I really, really found, like, this one was the part where, like, they all had their individual fight scene, and they all do it differently.
And then this one, though, on top of that, had one of those beats where it's like, and you just straight bop into it. Like, straight feeling the flow.
Yep.
And, like, I don't know, man. So you got it moves in, and then after that is, Inspected Deck. And he just keeps it coming through. Then Method Man comes in with the chorus, where it's just like, Method Man does a good chorus. And this one is like, my people, are you with me from the front to the back? Killer bees on attack. And you just like, it's so hype. You can just picture the whole crowd freaking out at the live show. And the energy of this track is still explosive. Then ODB comes in, and then the chorus again, I think. Then Ghostface comes in. And then MC Killa finishes the track. And then you got that Wu-Tang in the middle, and honestly, Master Killa, I think this is his only appearance on the album, actually.
Yep.
I don't have much to say about him, actually. He came in, and he sounded like a guy who was part of the Wu-Tang Clan, but the energy was not as alive, and if anyone out there wants to criticize me for that, that's fine. I still liked him. I still want to learn every word of this song. The language used is crazy. The flows are all...
Yeah, speaking about the flows, it's like... They took the time to take the idea of strategic chess games and put it into their ninja shadow boxing, chess boxing type flows. And when you really follow along with the lyrics and you really pay attention, every syllable and every word and the where they place them, they all link up throughout every verse. And it's like watching an actual guy have a fight, and every move links up together, and it's not choppy. It's really straight, smooth.
But they all manage to do it in a way where they have their own distinct flair.
Exactly.
And style, and everybody hugs tightly. Even Master Killa. I wasn't hating. I just said I can kind of see how he doesn't have as many parts on the album as, say, Raekwon, who is a really versatile dude. This track's a 5, man.
This track's a straight 5.
Ultimately, from a conceptual level, aside from what we discussed, they kind of go into the same sort of thing. It's more of why they're specifically talented at what they do. Their styles, their personalities get explored a little further. And honestly, at this point, I'm almost able to identify them all by voice alone, which is really making my Woo experience a little bit better than trying to figure it out. Because the first few times, you just hear so many voices. It's like watching a new Star Trek series or something where there's like 9 fucking characters and you're just trying to figure out everybody's name.
Right.
But once you do figure out everybody's name, it's like you start to kind of get attached to all their personalities. And this song alone, I might have listened to it 15, 20 times, and I barely feel like I've scratched the surface of like, I want to memorize it. I want to spit every word so I can feel it. And, like, it's really an anthem. It's a fucking anthem. No?
No, I agree.
Like, it's a battle
I
cry.
agree. Like, I can't express more of what I've been saying.
It's like a battle. And it's like you could picture the army dispersing. People, are you with me in the front? And you could just picture like a million killer bees ready to go. And
well, like I don't think people dispersing. I think they're now fighting. I feel like in here they've already started.
I don't know that I feel like this is still a hype up moment. Like, I don't know that it's not necessarily about a war per se. I think they're ready for war at this moment. They're exploding out there, and yeah, they are doing their montages and whatnot. Don't get me wrong, but to me, it's just it's the fucking song that gets played throughout the montage of the movie. I don't know.
Right,
it's amazing.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, one guy's got one fight scene hit, like his verse with his. You know what I mean? Like, you place it. Oh, it's crazy.
And if you thought this was a fucking anthem,
Wu-Tang Crew ain't nothing to fuck with.
You say crew?
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing.
Now, if you want beef, then bring the ruckus. Wu-Tang Clan, not fucking crew. This song, like, as a white person who's lived in Montreal my whole life, I can't picture a demographic or a place I've been or somewhere where there wasn't the token Wu-Tang Clan person, and this song would just come up at some point. I've heard it everywhere. I feel like it's like you can't even call yourself a rap fan without knowing what this song is at a certain point, especially in college. And when I was younger, it was like you had to like this song. Thank goodness it's so fucking good. You know what? It almost feels silly at the end of the day, right? Like, it's a little bit silly. Mm-hmm. It comes in with the nice snapping and the tiger style and all that stuff. And it comes in. It's got this ambiance that comes in. I mean, Wu-Tang Clan, like Riz is just fucking going ham on this one, and he just Wu-Tang
The energy with this song is
Damn,
so
blam,
yeah, like it's
like,
just so heavy, and
honestly,
they're just like
reminds me of like when LL Cool J gives up on rapping at the end of Mama Said Knock You Out, and he starts grunting, but way better. And I really like what Riz, and then he just talk to the bottom. I don't know the words. I'm sorry. Don't hate me, please. And then, like, you hear him flip into, like, the rapping verse immediately after, just to, like, he's not just making noises. He was exploding. He got his explosion out. Now he's ready to spit proper rhymes. Like, from raw passion to raw finesse.
Right.
And it's really great. And then Inspector Deck follows through the rest of that first verse. Then there's that hook, which is just, like, everybody together, like, screaming. So you just feel like it's the Clan. Like, we can't fuck with us all. And then just... the sun will come, but no, the meth will come out tomorrow. You're just like, this is where, so like, I noticed on multiple points on this album, Method Man kind of drew from nursery rhymes and like children-y kind of stuff. We'll see it more, but this is one of the first things I noticed. Like, it just kind of felt so kid-like.
Right.
And then he just comes in like he's the best, and and he almost feels like sometimes he got real high. And we know that's the result of him. And sometimes that was a little sillier than the other guys. But I really dug it on this track.
But he still says it in a way that's really, really, like, cool.
And it's fun. And then you got, like, Rizzo does his, like, long-ass outro. But it still works because this is what this song is. It's another anthem. This is, like, let's say the Mystery of Chess Boxing is the battle anthem. This is the TV ad anthem for the Wu-Tang Clan. This is the shit that hooked a generation of white kids to buy all the Wu-Tang Clan gear. Like, this was it. This song. Because it was so fun to say Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with and sing along with that line. I promise you that had such a high impact.
Yep.
The rest of the song was like whatever until you started caring. But there was a video. This one had more fire in it. Honestly, most of the videos involve the Clan and other guys standing around bouncing to the beat and stuff. Interestingly enough, this video cut in scenes from the Protect Your Neck video, and otherwise was cool. And I believe it was attached to Shame on a, which then had the first verse of that, and it was like, okay, and that was the video. I might have oversimplified. My bad.
Fair
I
enough.
am not the biggest music video person. This era didn't necessarily produce my favorite videos. What I did appreciate with the Wu-Tang Clan music videos is it's helpful to be able to picture their faces considering how many of them there are.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Ghostface. He looks cool. Just gotta throw it out there. I know it's not related to this track or anything. I like the way he looks in these videos.
Fair enough. I felt like this song was everything it was supposed to be. You're absolutely right. I don't know anybody who didn't love sing along to that chorus. And everybody here is just this is where I get full Wu-Tang. This is where I get like you can feel everybody's there. You can feel that they're all just there enjoying the time and just like, we ain't nothing to fuck with. We're gonna make it. We're doing this. And it's inspiring because they believed themselves and they believed what they believed in.
All
and
while serving as a very fair warning not to fuck with them.
yeah.
To me, it's a straight 5.
5 on 5.
It's a fucking great 5.
5 on 5.
And if you thought that the bangers were done, Cash Rules Everything Around Me.
Cream.
Now with speed for cracks and weed. The combination made my eyes bleed. No
I think this is the Wu-Tang Clan song I've listened to the most. A couple years back, I decided I was going to listen to Wu-Tang, and one of my many decisions to do that. And I landed on Cream, and I said, screw it. Biggie did that thing where, you know, he liked Cream, so I wanted to hear it too. And it's so profound, man. It's not like, you know, when you think about the chorus, Cash Rules Everything Around Me, in the lens of 2017. And then you compare it to what this song looks at, and it's so different, right? It's like Raekwon's kind of describing how for the whole better part of his life, he did a lot of criminal actions and shit, and then I figured out I went the wrong route, so I got with a sick tight click and went all out. Now he's talking about being with the Wu. He's talking about like just the pain of the situation and how hard of it. Like he grew up, like everything, even from like the first line. I grew up on the crime side, the New York, and you're just like, whew, you get like hooked, and it's just so serious, and it's so like it's again like it's such a good contrast to the way the last two are serious anthems and stuff, and this is still an anthem, but now it's more of a different kind of anthem. It's no longer a battle anthem or a branding anthem. This is more like this is what real life seems to be around. And then like when you do finally get to that chorus, like what is it, life as a shorty shouldn't be so rough, that's in this verse. Oh, it's like all these lines are just like you just feel the sense of injustice surrounding the reality, followed up to this Cash Rules Everything Around Me when Method Man kills it on that chorus. And then you have Inspector Deck, who just kind of goes a little bit more into the drug dealer perspective in a more specific thing, and how he gets locked up and how he like smokes weed because he's depressed. But like he gets a little bit less depressed when he's high, and it's just the sense of humanity in these verses and this song, and it's like, wow, it's so not materialistic for a song called Cash Rules Everything Around Me.
That's the point of it. I really got this depiction of their explaining experiences, messages, lessons, and stories of what happens when the cash rules everything around you, and there's certain consequences and results.
But at the same time, while laying down that the cash does rule everything around them. Anyway, keep going.
Well, I was just getting to like, it's scary. I don't want to say scary, but it's interesting. There we go. It's interesting to see like the depths of where they go into about this is what can happen when you're chasing money. This is what can happen when you trying to make a quick buck. And
when this is what happens when everybody's motivated by the same pursuit, right?
Yeah.
Like you just get the sense that everything is dangerous and everything is scary. Scary is a good word. I don't know that like it's one of those songs that can really contextualize it's right up there with some of the tracks on Illmatic and a few other ones. Like,
well, that beat
this is a perspective track is what I like to call them, where it gives you perspective into the reality to honestly get to a point of why they're nothing to fuck with. So you have the fact that they're nothing to fuck with, you have the fact that they're brilliant strategists, and now you know why with something like Cream. And just the placement on this album so far has been really well done to like flip shit up in a way. Like honestly, Cream is amazing. It is one of the nicest tracks on this album. It is a clear 5. It is so fucking good. I wish I knew it by heart enough. Like again, like every song on this album, maybe other albums we covered, but even particularly with the Wu-Tang, every track feels almost like a Bible verse in its depth, and that's what makes it truly remarkable.
Yeah.
Like you can study the Wu-Tang Clan, you can study this album and learn philosophical
But again,
knowledge.
they do it in a way where they're like, you can study this, you can study the Wu-Tang Clan as well as you can study like Shaolin boxing or Shaolin technique, you know? Like there's a lot of like connection between how they represent themselves and this whole ideology of like warriors and like leaders. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then we get into another song, METHOD, man, MET.
Old dirty bastard, Inspector Deck, Raekwon the chef. You go.
So this song starts off with something that apparently has a bunch of YouTube videos that I need to go watch after, where it's just Method Man and Raekwon describing like it's like a battle rap of sorts, where
Of
they're
like torturing scenes.
how they're gonna torture each other worse. He's like, I'm gonna close your asshole shut, and I'm just gonna keep feeding you and feeding you and feeding you. I'm like, you gotta understand how absurd this is. Like, it's absurd shit they're coming up with.
Yeah.
And it just shows like their one-upship, their competitive nature goes as far as like, and it's almost like you hear right before it, yo, torture. Like they just call it a category. Like this was just a game to them. Like this is just a regular thing to do. So this skit is truly entertaining. It is definitely the best skit on the album in my opinion.
Yep.
And I love it. I was like blowing a fucking way. Like when you consider that Birdie and the Fiend one whatever from the other album,
Yeah.
and then you listen to this,
Birdo
it's like,
and the Fiend.
It's like worlds apart of quality. This one, it's pretty good though. I love the fucking skit. And then the song starts and Jizza kind of introduces everybody, and then Method Man, and then the chorus comes in, METHOD, man. And then, holy shit, the whole song's a bunch of nursery rhymes. Like the whole song is not the whole song, but it's basically like a bunch of nursery rhymes rewritten to support Method Man's wonkiness, and like it's so fun, and it's got so many parts to it that are enjoyable. So you got your 2 verses, which are just excellent. Like, you know, I like Method Man. You know, this guy can practically say anything. It's fucking fun. It's got that beat, that dun dun, and then it kind of got melodies to it, and he just hits it right. It's grimy. It's as grimy as he is. But then you get the chorus, and then you got that I got O's and 40s. I got.
That was good.
Like,
that was
just
a nice
like,
break
it just
from the.
flips it, and you just your vibe is going. And
You know
just,
what?
You just want to hang out with Method Man at that point, no?
The entire song feels like they all just got really, really high and drunk and just had a party with it and enjoyed themselves. And in terms that meth used to be weed apparently, and like Method Man, he used to be like a real big smoker. It really just feels like a really big, joyful.
But, I mean, the thing is as much as I say it was silly, he is saying a lot of the right harsh stuff and a lot of it, but he's definitely, like, I would say he's the goofy one of the squad. Of everything I've heard so far, Method Man is the goofiest Wu-Tang guy, and I like it. And this song has this unique energy to it where it's such a distinct difference from the rest of the album. I'm not gonna lie, like the tone is just fun. This might be the funnest track on the album, straight up.
That's valid to say.
And the video has Method Man bopping around looking goofy the whole way through. Yeah, this one had a video. Oh, Cream also had a video. That's like 5 tracks in a row with a freaking video.
Well, they're all really good tracks.
Anyway, we're not even done with them. One more thing to note is something I saw in Genius, and I don't know how valid it is, and I think it would be cool if someone in the comments did know, was apparently Method Man won this track as the 9 guys did an internal rap battle to see who would get the solo track on the album, even though Jizza also has one. And Method Man won that, and that's what led to him. And then, although the other side of the story I heard is that they knew he was going to have Ty Cole come as the next album, and they were going to push him as the first main star. Either way, 4.5 on 5. As much as it's freaking like really fun and great, some of the rhymes really are just kind of silly nursery rhyme ripoffs and aren't necessarily as creative storytelling, as Chris Chrome would say, as you would like. This is a great song, but it's a little weird for the album.
I gave it a 4 on 5 just in terms of weirdness, but on a solo song itself, it's really, really good. It stands up great. And I agree, Method Man's the goofy one. And I just want to comment on this. You hear their names and you get like different kind of pre-assumed judgments, or not judgments, but I guess pre-assumptions.
Preconceived notions.
Preconceived notions, thank you. And then you turn around and like you get Method Man, who's that, and you get like Ghostface Killah, who's another way.
To be fair, Method Man comes harder on other tracks.
Right,
It's just he
right.
can also be goofy. And as we find out later on, Ghostface Killah is the romantic one and things like that. And I love the fact that these guys have layers like Shrek. I mean it. Like the ogres have layers and anyway.
Yeah, got it.
All that to say, protect your fucking neck.
Relax, won't style. Ray got it going on, pal. Call me the rap assassinator.
So apparently this is the first single of all the Wu-Tanginess, and that's why we get that little radio skit trying to imply that this was the first single and it blew the fuck up. Now I don't want to talk too much about the Wu-Tang Clan's accolades, only because Muse over at Hip Hop DX on the breakdown made an excellent talk about their accolades, and I'm going to link that in below. Click on that shit. It'll break down how significant their fucking Insta success really was. And I think that made it really relevant. It's part of this. Part of their story is the fact that this track blew the fuck up out of nowhere because it didn't have a label or anything behind it. I believe this is what got them signed to a label. I could be wrong. Whatever. Either way, this track is again fully fucking decked out, and I believe this is in order of appearance. Inspector Deck, Raekwon, U-God, Method Man, ODB, RZA, Ghostface Killah, and GZA. We have everybody but Master Killa. And I guess it's noteworthy at this point that no one song on this album has the entire 9 guys, but this is the second song that most of the squad appears on, and it's fucking insane.
I like how I got this type of like straight up, protect your neck, watch yourself, be careful. But I like how one verse felt like it was protect your neck, like protect your own back. And then another verse would come in more like protect your neck, like as a warning to someone else.
And then ODB. Anyway, and then RZA went political with it. GZA did his thing on it. I like the part where just in the middle, ODB starts going, oh, baby, 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 in the middle, like, just like that.
He just has crazy, energy that works for him.
Oh, this also has a video, by the way. And then U-God has his little part in the middle, which is actually really good. And I had to say, I kind of wanted more U-God. The other guys, basically the same commentary I've given throughout this album I could give again here. I believe that the way you describe the imagery of fighting montages is also done again on this one, although it's not as much as a solo montage, as this is more of the training montage.
Yeah,
as like you can picture them all in the gym getting ready in this movie, and it kind of makes sense because they even let you know.
Method Man's kind of like, being a joker or some shit.
Well, he's in the back. You catch him in the hot box in the bathroom, and he's like, "Yo, are you people with me in the back?" I know this song has great energy. The beat's really fucking good, and it's really everything I'm kind of wanting out of Wu-Tang now. I'm starting to realize these long ass songs, and it's not so much the length of the song. It's the so many guys layered over the kind of shorter verses. And it works when they do it, and it's something that was absent on the album we just reviewed. Now that we're
and I wanted to mention about that. I like how on the album we reviewed on Headspace, it was, and I heard it again, and I listened to it again, and I get it. It felt a little disjointed, as you said on that review. Now, as well, this one feels like some tracks everybody's kind of in sync with each other. And then on some tracks, everybody's still in sync, but they're taking control of that time.
Dude, I could say every single song on this that happens.
I
think that every song had a distinct strategy behind it. Like you came in and they all worked together to accomplish like this unified goal of presenting the Wu-Tang. I mean, every song had its own particular little niche to it, per se, but this one is really similar to The Mystery of Chess Boxing, to Seventh Chamber. This is the Clan, we are all here, and it's a wide array of the different styles they're dropping in shorter little verses to just kind of give you little jabs of each guy.
Okay. I know.
And then inside of their own zones, they all come in. Maybe some guys have longer or shorter verses depending, but I feel like each guy uses what they have extremely well. And there's not a track really, on the exception of my one comment on Master Killa, where anybody really sounds bad next to each other. Everybody sounds blessed.
Fair.
This one is a 4.5 to me. It's not perfect. It's a little like, it's like a less good chess boxing track, but it's still fantastic.
I give it a 4 out of 5.
All right, don't have some tears. Come on, Chris.
Him in the eye and said, no, money splattered him. Bowed and he snatched the bag, hit his pocket.
This is an interesting choice for the last like track on the album.
Reminiscing about the past.
Well, it's not so much that. It's two distinct stories of happy moments turned tragic.
Mm-hmm.
Like Riz is going on about some happy thing, and then they stomp some guy. They're all feeling really good, and then it turns out his brother or somebody else close to him gets clipped. Some younger guy, and, like, finds him, and he's really
But it's kind of playing like on karma. Like they did something wrong, they did something negative, and then something else negative.
It was really fucking. That was funny.
It was a little weak.
But like it was still really like extreme, right? Like it was a good story. It was well paced, and you could almost go through the moment, and then you see him like freaking out, the pool of blood, and then he just starts reminiscing on how he can only have these memories because once somebody's gone, it's so final, and it's all crying and stuff, and it was really deep. It was like, damn, Wu-Tang, when they go deep, they go fucking deep.
But it makes you think, like, how many times do you really reminisce about the memories you have about somebody you see very frequently? But when they pass, you're kind of like, oh, shit, like, certain memories come back that you would never really think of. You know, like, they really touch upon very honest and emotional things as well as being very hard.
And then Ghostface comes in, and he's trying to warn his buddy not to fuck this girl without a condom because she's a bit of a hoe. And he does it anyway, and he's all smiling, and he's happy because he just got laid, and he did his thing. But then he ends up playing this promiscuous behavior, enjoying life, and he gets caught with the HIV, and that's a sad situation. And Ghostface comes in and does this. It's like, it's interesting. Like, it's just such a serious verse. Again, like, you can see, like, Ghostface felt really deeply about this subject, wanted to make sure it got touched upon on this album almost. And he does this thing, and it comes through, and then it's just kind of like it ends. And I gotta say that this song kind of sent me through a bit of a loop. It's a different vibe. The beat's kind of whatever. And following something like Protect Your Neck, you're just not sure what something like Tears is. But again, it's on this emotional roller coaster you've gone through on this album.
I felt like the way they made Tears in terms of having the story, like the positive part of the story, and then the negative, is a play on of how Protect Your Neck was very positive in a sense of, like, even though it was vicious and, like, we're warning you, but we're also warning you, like, we're going to protect ourselves and this is that, and give you tips and tricks. They're kind of, like, following it up with, like negativity, you know,
well,
like
I feel
darkness.
like it's also like there's just, again, some context, some like actual genuine, there are consequences to the actions. Like life isn't a game. Like, it's a good note to end the album on. Like, I mean,
look at it this way. They told you to protect your neck, and now there's tears.
Right.
Like, I know it's a stretch. I know I'm stretching, but I just...
So then don't stretch. Say things that you know. But, like, I mean, it could work like that. I just feel like it's more like they came in with all this explosive stuff, but I feel like they also want to let you know that they understand the consequences of the actions. Like, they have seen the darker side of this. Like, it isn't just they're hard motherfuckers. It's like they have an emotional range. Like, you have the funniness and the silliness of Method Man. You know, you have so many different things that get explored on this album, and it's really fucking cool to me. This one, though, I give a 4. I didn't think it was the greatest track on the album. I thought it was a good way to end it, but it was a strange choice to end it. Like, I feel like, I don't know, man. Like, it was a strange album closer. Like, it's just...
It was a little off, but you know what? The fact that it was very serious was also very cool. Like, there's times where, like, I think the way they're trying to go is they're trying to get you hype, and you get into this vibe, and then they smack you in the face with reality, and that's how they wanted you to feel. Like, they want you to be thrown off so that you focus on what they're saying, instead of just kind of getting into the vibe of, you know, yeah, we're hype, we're doing this. That vibe continues throughout an album when you have certain type of songs, but you put 2 vibe songs, and then...
I just think it's, again, about complexity, just to give you a lot of different things. Anyway, There's kind of one track left that we're going to talk about, just Conclusion, because on the deluxe album it got moved. It was at the end of Tears, then it's at the end of the remix to Seven Chamber. Anyway, Conclusion. So this was a little nifty thing. This was like the Wu-Tang Clan providing you with the guide on how to like think about their album here. And I thought it was just worth talking about quickly because it was a really great way to end the album. Because I'm certain they realized that so many people were going to be like, what the fuck did I just listen to by the time they got to this point? Like, it's not the easiest album to digest. It's really fucking heavy, and there's so much weight to it. There's so much meat on it. And I like the fact that they took this journalist who like was just passionately describing their personalities, the fact that there is so much here, how he wants to see them live because he believes in energy and stuff. And then what I particularly liked is how he ends, like, tell me about your style, and it just kind of cuts to like this, that you don't talk about the style, and like the sample thing at the end, and then it just ends, and then it's over, and you're just like, wow, the Wu-Tang thing. I give the Conclusion a 4. Because it was nice. It was a good end. It kind of felt like it was on par with Tears. It was attached.
It kind of wraps up the entire movie cinematic of the album. I feel like while doing a lot of the Wu-Tang album reviews, there's a very specific type of cinematic feel throughout the album. Everything is connecting and kind of fading through. But
it also sets you up for the sequel.
And that too, but I like how, like, in the beginning he was like, I'll teach you about, like, at the very beginning he's like, I'll teach you about my Shaolin style and all this stuff and my Wu style, and then at the end he's kind of like closing off like, but just remember, like, this is,
don't teach it to anyone else.
Yeah, this is under the wraps.
Like first rule about Fight Club, don't talk about Fight Club.
Who said it? What, I don't know if it was a Wu-Tang member, but somebody made it very clear that he didn't want anybody to sound like him.
It was definitely Ghostface or one of them,
right? Like, so that I kind of thought of that as well when I heard this, because
anyway, yeah,
like, I sound like me. Nobody sounds like me.
But I thought it was more about just what they're doing is special, and they don't want it to be polluted and hoard out and turned into it. They want it to become an authentic thing.
Anyway, and then look at the drama that happened with the album.
That's a hugely different subject. Anyway, I like this album. I give it a 4.54. I think it's a fucking clear classic. I can see why it's a classic. I think it's an undisputed champion of albums. There's not a wasted lyric on the entire album that wasn't said by ODB, but ODB's a strange character.
Fair enough.
I could listen to this again and again. I will. It picks you up. It takes you down. It's a canvas of exploration. It's like, you think the Wu-Tang Clan is just these rough and tough guys, but no. Complex individuals worth exploring. Like, you could do entire case studies on the depth of this shit. This is cool. Anyway, you guys heard what I had to say. I think this is a great album.
Nice. I gave this a 4.3 on 5. I think that it's really strong. I think that I slept on this way too long. I think that I should have been into Wu-Tang a long time ago. But I really do need to go back and dissect more into this album, because I think we mentioned on the last review as well that honestly, a lot of this needs to be taken piece by piece, because each individual Wu member
lots of time to prep for this. You knew when it was coming.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, just even now, there's still
honestly
more.
You could probably listen to this, and then as you grow, you'll probably change how you perceive the lyrics. And
right.
It's deep. It's a true masterpiece out there. It is not. It is a rare
diamond in the rough.
I don't know about diamond in the rough. I think it's just a fucking diamond. It's truly remarkable. Check it out if you haven't. If you really haven't, do it. But don't just do it once. Listen to it. If it's too much, give it a week. Try it again. Give it another week. Try it again. You're gonna find that this turns into something where it's truly great. Not every song, but the whole middle of this album is one of the best middles of an album I think you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you have any more on this?
That's it,
Listen,
man.
we appreciate all of y'all watching. You are the reason we do this. We want to hear your comments and your feedback and your suggestions. Let us also know what albums you're going to review.
Don't forget to hit us up on our personal contact info as well. You
can find all that in the description. Hit the like button if you liked it. Feel free to subscribe to the channel for more content. We do requests. In theory, this was a request, but it was also planned because of Wu Weekend. Yeah. But let us know what you want to see.
Though.
We want to get to a point where we can pop off even more reviews than we are. It isn't that hard to do this, but it might take some time. So keep in mind, it might be like it takes a long time, and then we're just exploding like crazy. So have patience with us. And again, we appreciate you being here.
We got more coming for you guys. So
until next week.
Until next week.
Killer bees on attack, yo.